Hi everyone, David Kleckner. Thank you for joining me today, doing my informative speech for COM 101. In 1949, Dorothy Vaughan became the first supervisor at NACA at the time, which was the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, which eventually became NASA as we know it today. She led the West Computer Group, taught herself Fortran, which was one of the earliest computing languages, and in deciding on who I would speak of today, I was inspired by her because she made me reminisce about the leaders that I've had in my 15-year career and the diverse, powerful, knowledgeable female leaders that I've had the pleasure to work for and have inspired me. And that's the reason I wanted to share a little bit about her life, what she overcame, her accomplishments, and the legacy she left behind. Before I can tell you about her accomplishments and her legacy, I want to talk about what she overcame. And in the early 1940s and 50s was a dark time in our country's history. As you know, racial segregation was very alive and well at the time, especially in Virginia, in the South, where Langley NASA headquarters was at the time. Dorothy Vaughan worked for 17 years in a segregated facility at NASA. It wasn't until 1958, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, that NASA closed their final segregated facility. At the time, all of the facilities that she worked in, separate bathrooms, separate dining rooms, you name it, there was a different version for African Americans at that time. Along with that was the knowledge of the system itself. Pictured here is one of her colleagues, Katherine Johnson, at the IBM computer where they learned how to operate. They had to teach themselves. They didn't get training or schooling. They had to go find the information, practice in secret, and learn the information without any assistance from anyone. And at the time in the US government, as well as NASA, it was mostly a boys' club. Women could be secretaries, they could crunch numbers, they could get coffee, they could clean. It was extremely rare for a woman to be promoted into a supervisory level, and until 1949 it was unheard of before Dorothy Vaughan was promoted for an African American woman to become a supervisor. Now that we've talked about what she overcame, we can talk a little bit about what she accomplished when she was there. Starting her career in 1943, she left her mathematics teaching job and took a job at the West Computers for NASA. In 1949, she was promoted to, like I said, the first female African-American supervisor, and she worked to teach herself the Fortran language, which she then taught to her colleagues in the West Computer Group, and from a ScienceMuseum.com article, credits her for, and that teaching, for being able to have those ladies transition from when they closed the manual mathematics departments to those computers. The West Computer Group here is pictured by the cast of Hidden Figures. She helped us win the space race and get the first man on the moon. The first satellite, which is pictured here, was launched using mathematics and calculations done from that IBM computer in the Fortran language she learned. And she leaves a legacy that ripples all the way to today. She broke down barriers. Our current Vice President Kamala Harris and many others like her stand on the shoulders of these giants, not to diminish the things that they've done in their life to get to where they are, but people like Dorothy Vaughan and others in her time helped pave the way for our modern day achievements and freedoms that people have today. But up until recently, those stories weren't told. In 2016, the movie Hidden Figures highlighted Dorothy Vaughan, Katherine Johnson, and Mary Jackson, three amazing women who achieved so much during their time at NASA and again helped us advance the space program that much further. And she's an inspiration to today in all fields. Brian Hodges, who's a scholar and writes textbooks, wrote in his medical education textbook and referenced her teaching herself Fortran and challenges his medical students to do the same in their career in advancing technologies. And this is just a short part of the story of Dorothy Vaughan's life. I was happy to be able to learn more about her and to share that information with you. We talked through and discussed the discrimination she faced, the achievements that she accomplished during her life, and the legacy that she left behind. We should all strive to live a life worth remembering, just like Dorothy Vaughan and her fellow Hidden Figures. Thank you.